Kent is powered by business, and every business has a story. Join your host, Rachel Bryant, on the Kent Business Show as she meets the businesses powering Kent, sharing their journeys, their experiences, and what they've learned along the way. A real conversation with real people, giving you real inspiration. This is the Kent Business Show, powered by your video team.
If that's the scenario that obviously people are worried about, what happens if they die without a will?
Right, if they die without a will, that could be quite tricky. So, for instance, if you're married, it's better. Obviously, or civil partnership, they say, civil partnership. So your partner, wife, husband will get the what you've left. However, not necessarily always that's so true. If you're in a business and you're a director, say the woman or the man, and they are not directors on your business, and you automatically think, oh, that's okay because my wife or my husband can run the business. That won't happen because they're not a director. So you need to make provisions so that when you do pass away, if you want to sell it or you've got another business partner, but if your wife or husband is not part of that, they won't get that business. And why would they? Also, sometimes husbands don't want to take over their wives' businesses and wives don't want to take over their husbands' businesses. So it's not a given that they do that. So the really interesting thing about, especially these days, I call them blended families, where you may have been married, somebody may have lost their husband or wife and they remarry, they've got maybe 2 or 3 children, and they remarry somebody that maybe have 2 children. That's a blended family. So what happens then? So that's where it gets really interesting. I feel like a Miss Marple sometimes.
And I suppose this is the thing as well, if there's been a separation but you haven't gone through the formality of divorce, then again, if something happens to you, your ex-partner could be getting everything, going, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
And how horrendous for either children or new partners and things like that.
Absolutely. You're quite right there, Rachel, because even if they are with they're not divorced and they've got a will, and something happens to them, their husband, wife would get that share. So really and truly, if you are having another relationship and you've moved in and it's, a long-standing relationship, then it would be good to get divorced. Then it's null and void anyway. It's like you've passed away. And then do another one immediately.
Wow.
With your new partner or
just for yourself.
Just for yourself, yes. But also people still think that, I've been living with my partner for 20 years, 30 years, it automatically goes to the other half. No, it doesn't. You still have to make a will. It's not a given that you will get everything. You won't.
Gosh, it's quite a scary concept if you think, I remember making the joke with you a little while ago about children and said, well, if I go, I'm not here, they can fight amongst themselves. But again, they don't automatically go to family.
No, they don't.
They're now going to end up potentially in the system and who knows where. So again, from, your children's aspect, where are they going if something happened to both of you or something like that as well?
Absolutely. And young people that have got married and they've got 2 lovely children or 3 lovely children and they're running their businesses and they haven't made a will, and sometimes you go around together, especially like you and Ben, you are a package and you're always together.
Always.
Well, okay.
Always.
Okay. Didn't mean it like that, but a wonderful package. So you're together a lot, and what does happen if somebody drives into you, or what happens, your children, who's they're going to be their guardians, you don't have anything in place, they can go into the system, as you quite rightly say. So it doesn't matter what age you are, please just do a will. And it's really easy, and I make it really comfortable. I do take tissues, but we don't use them. We might use them for laughter, more so than tears of sorrow. But I do make the people feel really, really comfortable. I love people. I love what people do. And I've got some wonderful stories that I can tell you.
stepping out of that sector and going into the private sector essentially, and being able to use the whole toolkit of what the whole professional physiotherapy means, and being able to spend as long as you want, or as long as that client wants you there, and you could spend long sessions with that person, and also over a long period of time. I mean, some of our clients have been with us for 5 years.
Wow.
They've been really, and you're really supporting somebody through the whole of their pathway.
And I bet you see
and their journey
them change and sort of get a quality of life back in that time as well.
Absolutely. So if you think of somebody maybe who's and making real physiological change as well. So if you're thinking of somebody who maybe has got a degenerative condition, and say for example Parkinson's, you can actually make a real physiological change with somebody if you can get in and support them early, teach them those real specific exercises, lifestyle choices, opportunities, and coach them and counsel them through the whole journey. Actually, it's evidence now tells us that if we can get in and support that person, their trajectory is less likely to go downhill as quickly. We can actually maintain and improve their fitness in those early years. And if we can do that in those early years, then they've got more resilience to cope with the latter years.
Well, support, when it comes to any sort of health thing, they always say like you need people around you, network and community, family, all of those things, and that's what will help you push through and work through. And you're allowed those moments of being like, oh woe me, but ultimately you need someone to then pull you out of that. And
absolutely.
So then by you coming in so early, not only do you immediately go up in your health and like, oh wow, okay, I've got this and I can do this and look at me, when that inevitable deterioration comes with those sorts of degenerative diseases and illnesses, is ultimately you've had a longevity of a connection around you, so it like you say, the decline is so slower. It is slower,
and also we're there with them, so we're there in those crisis moments. If they are there, they've got somebody who they've trusted, they've got a good relationship with, they know that they can ask any random question and we're trusted, but also we're accessible, so they can quickly contact us, quickly talk to us, and we can put in bits and pieces or help guide them, signpost them, suggest bits that, you know, if there's where we think they need to be signposted and be reviewed from a medical perspective or social care perspective, we can link them in with all of those, like the multidisciplinary team really. And we work really closely with things like care homes and also care providers and other health providers, because then we can link our clients into those at that moment. And we're that, hopefully the plan is that we're that guiding support all the way through that journey. And you know, going back to some of the things that I found frustrating with the profession before I was getting into sort of this sort of private service, was that you were expected to have a bit of a stop-start, and there's always an expectation of, when are you discharging this person, when's this person's session going to stop? Right. But actually it's about, well, why should we necessarily be discharging the person? We should be thinking about what value can we be giving that person, and what does that person need, and how long do they need that for. And then when they've achieved that goal or achieved that ambition or anything that they want to do, then it might be our time to step back and allow them to carry on. But then quite oftentimes they've had a new insight into what their capabilities of being are, and they want to do the next step. So it might be a goal, so can you get up and down your stairs so that you can sleep back upstairs, for example. And we're in practicing step stairs, strength, balance, all of that, and getting them to the point where they're now able to get and sleep upstairs with their partner, for example. And they achieve that, and we think that's us all done and ready to sign them off type thing. But then we start looking at the steps going out of their house, and then next thing we're thinking about, okay, so should we take you outdoors, and what might that look like? Onto buses, back out connected to the community.
And again, it's that quality of life and things like that. So, because this is the thing, like you say about this whole journey that people are on with you, is ultimately you know, it could start, like you say, from fertility, of the getting pregnant and stuff, but lots of families have more than one child as well. So this is a case of like, I remember with our midwife is that we saw her for one, and then when we got her again, we were like,
and this is it as well. And I always say it used to be like once upon a time, you know, you used to have like a family doctor.
Yes.
So they used to know all of your history and your family history when you went in to see them. So now it's the same. They're like, oh, well, we had Amanda in our last pregnancy, here's Amanda again. And, you know, and we do remember these families as well. It's not something that, we forget.
No.
So yeah, I think it's really nice. And as I said, I think we love it, and I think they love it as well. Yeah.
And it's magical, isn't it? Like going through that experience, you know, it can be nerve-wracking, obviously having a baby. And I remember exactly that is at the time we did have a family doctor, and I remember phoning him and being like, I peed on a stick and the instructions tell me I need to ring you, so here I am ringing you. And I walked in there and he was like, okay, so peed on a stick? What? And I went, well, now what do I do? And he was like, well, you're pregnant, darling, like you grow a baby. And I went, you know what? And he was like, why do you seem surprised by this? You've been trying for a baby. You're now pregnant. This is what you do. But I almost wanted someone to go, and this is the instruction manual.
Yeah.
But I suppose through you guys, it's really, you've got that touch point is you are there. Because it's different to the NHS, is you are there. As
Unfortunately, the GPs are very, very busy, and they don't have anything to do with early pregnancy unless there's somebody that's a first point of call for someone that's got some problems. Of course, I appreciate that, but it's everything's online. So
you don't even register with the GP now. Do you have to self-refer online when you're pregnant now, don't you?
Wow, really?
So we're really lucky because the girls that take all of the inquiries, you're always the first point of call, and the other two clinical front of house girls are constantly, daily, and we're not the first point of call for people that ring up and say, right, can I have some advice, please? This is the example you've just given, and where do I go? And the other downside is the blooming internet. So it is lovely.
Dr. Google.
My app says.
And so, you know, we're led by apps and the internet, which can be an amazing source of support, but it can be an amazing source for worry and anxiety. And I really do feel for lots of families at the moment that are currently particularly going through fertility journeys, because that's a long journey, and you are guided by groups and support groups which are very helpful, but again can be something to compare, which
we know
worries.
too much sometimes now, don't we?
It's
naive.
It can be a bit of you go down a rabbit hole, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, they say like knowledge is power. I'm still here with Ben from your video team. Slightly, you're just a bit cheeky, aren't you? Like, so
I'm really professional.
Yeah. So before we jumped over to the sponsor, I alluded to the fact of the biggest failure becoming the biggest success. And it's funny, isn't it? Because we all talk about, like, you get told in business, celebrate your wins, do this, da da da. And wins are amazing, and you absolutely need to celebrate them. But if you're doing the same thing all the time, you're not learning anything necessarily. I feel like we've learned a lot in business, but we learn through failures. How did we get to where we are now from starting your video team?
Well, like I said, because come through COVID, we were doing training videos, we were doing corporate stuff to make their businesses successful, and a lot of stuff was short form content that was starting to come as a massive rise, especially through COVID and TikTok and things like that.
So when you say short form, see, I know what you mean, but what's short form content?
So it's your Instagram reels. Back then it was things that were like 30 to 60 seconds, if that long at all. Nothing was longer than 60 seconds back then. They've obviously got longer, up to like 3 minutes now on reels. I think you post 10-minute reels, but they don't necessarily show up on reels as much. But yeah, it's short form is that really short. Used to be TikTok dancing, and
it's seconds long, isn't it? Really,
grabbing, yeah.
I mean, we would garner it up to 90 seconds is short form
Now
content.
anything,
but also then it becomes long form. Like in the industry world, you have short or long form.
Yeah.
We, as your video team, when we talk about, we also have medium form content.
Yeah, so traditional short form content is up to 90 seconds. It's a portrait shot, so it's taller than it is wide. And yeah, you're skipping through them with your thumb. Probably not even paid attention to half of them, let alone remembered who was in them or what was said. Long form is anything over, well, everyone else would say short form is 0 to 3 minutes. Long form is 3 minutes plus. But we go, you got short form up to the 90 seconds, medium form, which is 90 seconds up to about 6 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you've got long form, which is 6 minutes plus, and probably from 15 minutes plus is...
I was going to say, I think even for us, that medium form content has changed. Now when we do our bite-sized podcasts, when we do your video team on the road, those interviews are really, we aim at 7 minutes. But we can push it to 10. And I would say anything sort of 3 to 10 minutes is that medium form content.
Yeah, people underestimate how much they can say in 7 minutes.
Well, very much so.
Which is quite funny to, like, I don't know what to say, what do I do? Just have a conversation and see what comes out.
Yeah, I can't say anything in 7 minutes. You'd be surprised. Yeah, absolutely. So what led us down the road of podcasting? So,
I mean, many moons ago, I got into Diary of a CEO and Chris and Rosie Ramsey's podcast, SMAR, which I enjoyed, and lots of business ones. So Nick Bradley's podcast about business growth, Alex Hormozy, Gary Vaynerchuk, like loads of
Mel Robbins
as well.
I think we listened to a lot of audiobooks, didn't we?
Along with that, audiobooks as well was something we listened to. Entertaining ones, again, like I mentioned Smart, but obviously, I say obviously, it's only obvious to me because I listened to it. But Rob and Josh Beckett, Parenting Hell as well.
Oh, of course.
So there was lots of podcasts that I listened to and loved it, and I wanted to give it a go. And watching with Diary of a CEO, that was a video podcast, and I was like, that's great. And I've got all the stuff to do that from our wedding days. I've got microphones that we can use. I've obviously got the cameras because we're doing video content. So I came to you with a great idea of, let's start a podcast. And you're like, what's it going to be about? I was like, everything. Everything that we do. We're a family-run business. We do family things. We are married. We do couples things. We have our business, so we do business things. We've got so much stuff that we will talk about, and everyone will listen because we're on a podcast and it's great.
We're going to be millionaires.
We're going to be millionaires in no time. We're going to look at this Stephen Bartlett. He's smashing it.
This dude over here.
Yeah, and then it was like we set it all up. It was fantastic. We had it all looking nice and lovely in your mum and dad's conservatory because it was the most like.
That heavily extended.
Oh yeah, heavily glazed extension. Sorry. And then got the wedding mics that I had, but we went, oh, we'll handhold them, that'd be fine. And we recorded it, and then it came to editing it, which I didn't mind editing long form content. Wedding ceremonies are long form content. Multi-camera editing as well, not got a problem with. But the audio, my one vice was absolutely shocking because we had handheld microphones and you and I were very much animated speakers.
We are.
So listen, everyone, and it can be absolutely, and we do all.
You bang it on the table.
Yeah, and
then we did that bang.
Yeah, and then the dog will walk in front of the camera, because I think we only done one camera set up to begin with, to be honest.
One angle, you mean?
Yeah.
I think we just do a wide like this one. And
hopefully,
this is your opportunity now to edit to that one. But yeah, you do a wide where we're both in shot.
Yeah, and we spoke like over the table to each other, and like the conversation itself, we enjoyed it, but it was hard for anyone to listen to. And I think the biggest learning is I very much quickly figured out the audio needs to stay the same throughout. The level of it needs to be consistent throughout.
If you've enjoyed this episode and you're a Kent-based business owner with a story to share, we'd love to hear from you. You can find out how to be a guest on the Kent Business Show using the link below. Be seen, be heard, be unforgettable.